Hey everybody, quick update here on Snow Talk on this Wednesday morning. A reminder again that Lauren's going to have an update on midday today, and then of course we'll have a full update coming up tonight with Christy Dutton on the evening newscast. As far as the monitoring board, I'm not going to really change anything today. I'm going to keep it still 16th through the 20th, and even then it's only going to be minor stuff that I can tell at this point. We may have to add some extensions here to the dates a little bit later, but I'll give it another day before I do that. But don't get too caught up on the monitoring board just yet. Today, it's a weak system passing through. It's trying to squeeze out some raindrops out of this, but this system is really moisture-starved. There's another piece to it that is rolling in as well behind it here across St. Louis. It'll kind of try to squeeze out some raindrops later today, but again, most of this is going to be just cloud cover, and we'll have some sun breaks every once in a while to get through these clouds and allowing us to get well into the 50s. And if we have more sun than clouds, we'll easily hit that 60-degree mark. Now, so here's the setup for the storm for the weekend. Two pieces, really. Here is the swirly cube moving on shore now. At the same time, we've got a good subtropical jet, typical of El Nino here. The two of these work together, create cyclogenesis right over the front range of the Rockies and the panhandle of Texas. And that is when the storm will roll northeast. Because the two are not fully being sampled entirely, just from buoys and ship reports, there's not a whole lot to really gather as far as how it's going to develop and where does it pop once it emerges over the Rockies. So there's still some questions on timing. That's why I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on timing aspects just yet, but I'll at least give you a snapshot because you're trying to plan your weekend, and I get that. Here is the Canadian. It is the fastest of all of them right now. Develops the main low itself over portions of Missouri, tracks Texas into Missouri. This brings the showers and thunderstorms into the area, I would say around 1 or 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. A lot of wind with that too, by the way. The European model is, again, got a cold core, but not a big deal. Won't worry about that. But it is slower, much slower. So we have a chance to get a good south wind. So I've raised the numbers back up again on Sunday. To flirt with record territory because we could very well end up staying mainly dry and windy throughout the day. Now, could it be too slow? Possibility in these scenarios. Depends on how wrapped up the low becomes. It becomes really wrapped up. What you will see on the radar when we get closer is all the rain is going north and there's very little east movement. And that could be the scenario. If that's the case, then yeah, the slower movement into our area would be most likely. But usually when you have lines of thunderstorms, they end up accelerating quicker than the models are showing. You got to add about 4 hours sometimes. But in this case, I think because the low itself is beginning to cut off, the slower idea is a little more likely. The GFS just came in. Interesting enough, it takes the low almost right over us. The Canadian was doing that the other day. But it also brings it more into Sunday night. So at this point, the trend is more for Sunday night than Sunday morning for the rain to begin. So that may allow for a mainly dry forecast for the weekend. Now, I say mainly because you're dealing with warm air advection starting Friday and Saturday. So at any point, you can get some decent clouds, maybe a little bit of drizzle, maybe a brief shower. That's just typical of warm air advection scenarios in the Ohio Valley. So can't rule out any raindrops at all Friday and Saturday. But nothing like we'll have Saturday or Sunday night. I need some sleep. Sunday night is when the rain band will come through. Now the wind is going, this is a pretty good pressure gradient, so the wind's going to be really strong, perhaps as early as Saturday night around midnight through the entire event, and even after the low passes by Monday, it'll be a gusty wind from the opposite direction, but some strong wind gusts, over 40 to 45 miles per hour. So wind advisories and even some high wind warnings could be issued for some areas of the path here of this low, including here in Wave Country. So that is something we'll be watching too. As far as severe weather goes, SPC did put an outlook out to our south. I would agree with that because at this point, no matter which track and timing and speed you look at, the better moisture is definitely to the south and more heat is involved. So it's kind of a give-in that your chances are a little higher to the south. It's a little more questionable for our area because of the timing. So there's a chance we could see a marginal risk being added for our region here, depending on the timing. But again, not as huge of a threat. In fact, when you look at the SIPS analogs, I'll look at this. This takes the system moving in and looks back in the past and says, okay, other times when we've had systems just like this, what has happened severe weather-wise? And these are actual events that have happened. But you're going back, many, many years. But you see the core, look at the concentration, is pretty much where SPC has the area highlighted to the south and very little impacted to the north. So I think it's a good place for SPC so far. Then after that, we get into more of a complicated scenario like we have been all season long, is how far will the cold air dive south and east down the road, and does it have any staying power to it? Here are the deterministic models, as we pointed out before, and here are the ensembles. We do not have any Canadian data for this. So here we go. This is going to be the 17th, Thursday. A system does move by. Now, the GFS and Euro both pretty much... Oh, why my system's doing that? Hold on one second. Let me make sure I'm clicking. Okay. It's going to be a low pressure moving along the boundary. So it looks like a wave of rain at some point Wednesday and Thursday. We should warm up ahead of that, and then maybe some flurries in the backside. I won't rule that out, since both models are very similar in that idea. Even the ensembles, not too far off. Even the Canadian on that idea. So maybe some flurries next Thursday behind a quick little wave that passes through. By the 19th, we begin to see the typical energy being held back on the Euro, so you get a warm flow, and the GFS, as typically the case, a little quick on the idea, so it doesn't allow the warming to happen right away. But you can see what it's doing. It's about to do what the Euro is going to do. It's just quicker at doing it, and the Euro is historically known to hold things back. But when you look at the ensembles, again, generally about average, nothing too drastic on the 19th. And by the time we head into Christmas Eve, the GFS just goes bonkers with a piece of the polar vortex being displaced and sent into the northern United States. The ensembles are not as dramatic, of course. In fact, the Canadian ensemble is warmer. Now, before you get all excited about the GFS deterministic model showing that thing, oh man, finally, here it comes. Let me show you a few things. This is last evening's run of the GFS for Christmas Eve. Low pressure moving in. It shows the cold air coming in, but it would be a rain to snow deal. And then last night's run, the system's already passed us. It's quicker with it, but cold, maybe some flurries for Christmas Eve. And then this morning's run, warm, with rain to our south and probably some scattered showers moving in Christmas Day, maybe even some thunder. So it's really, you guys know this already, that you pay attention to models, you just really can't trust the GFS, so use some caution with that. But here's the sign of something good. The EPO has been positive for a while. It is trending negative on the Euro. That's a good sign. Stay tuned. That could be a signal that we could see a pattern change by the end of the month, if not into January. So at least there's something to smile about, and that would be it. Stay tuned.